everyone, and thanks for joining me on my channel. Now, before we actually get into the reviews, I just want to take a moment and say Merry Christmas to everyone. It's Christmas Eve here today. So today I'm actually going to be looking at one guy, and then tomorrow for the Christmas special, I'm going to be looking at the bigger one. So, once again, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. It's been a long year, especially for me. There's a lot of stuff that happened. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you guys out there as well that had a lot of stuff happen this year. So I'm hoping that next year will be a better year for all of you guys out there. So, that being said, today we're actually going to be taking a look at some Saint Myth cloth figures. It's been a long time since I looked at these guys, and because honestly, the releases of these guys are fairly spread out. They're not like figure arts or anything like that, where they're quite frequent in their release. These guys, because they're of a higher price point and they're not as popular as, say, like Dragon Ball figure arts. You see these probably at the most once a month, once every 2 to 3 months. The new releases. Once in a while, they'll pop out a reissue or a what they call OCE, which is Original Color Edition. I'm not a huge fan of those personally. It's just basically a different color. Everything else is completely untouched. So these guys are completely new molds. So for today, Christmas Eve, I'm just going to be taking a look at the smaller guy. And then for tomorrow, which I'm actually going to shoot this video back to back, when I'm going to be uploading that one tomorrow, we're going to be taking a look at the big guy here, which is the God of Sleep himself, Hypno. So I'm going to take this out of the way first, so then we can focus mainly on this guy. So what we have here is Delta Megrez Alberich. You can see here, Delta Megrez Alberich. This is the 4th release of the God Warrior. We have had Alpha Siegfried, Beta Hagen, and what was it? Zeta Bud. Zeta Sid. We will be having Zeta Bud coming out next year. But with that being out of the way, let's take a look at this guy. First of all, this is a very, very small box. We have Alberich here in his nice blue armor with the Odin Sapphire and the nice pinkish red hair. We see we got this interestingly creepy kind of design here, which we will get to in a second. Got the Bandai Tamashii Nations sticker, and if we're looking at the front here, we actually notice this is not a P Bandai exclusive, which is nice for a change. On the side here, we see we got Alberich holding up his sword, which is flaming, getting ready to strike. On the other side is the object mode, which really looks a lot like this, and that's kind of what he's based on. On the top here, we get Delta Megrez Alberich. We see the 4th star is lit up, and of course, Delta being the 4th letter number, I'm not too sure, of the Greek alphabet. Basically means because 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's him. On the bottom here, just a photo with him without the helmet and a bunch of words and warnings. And on the back, we see pretty much all the different product shots, all the different faces that this guy has got. Throwing one of his big attacks, the object mode, flaming sword, as well as a sword without the flame, and him holding a very interesting pose here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the box. I'm going to crack this open and let's take a look at the contents. Alright, so taking a look at the contents here. Here we have the first shell with Alberich still in the packaging in a completely white suit. One thing I noticed is all of these God Warriors have this complete bodysuit rather than some of the Saints. I'm guessing because it's cold up there in Asgard. We have this nice kind of, almost has a slight greenish tint to it, but the armor is very, very nice. I got the red eyes right there. So this one is mostly just his body and some of his armor. And for the second shell, we have the object stand, the object body, pretty much all the object parts that are used just for the object mode, not for the actual armor. And here we got a kind of a base here with the purple crystal as amethyst. And here we got the sword, as well as the fire, and all these different faces. Now, one thing to note is because of the small box, this is a very, very small kind of figure. It doesn't really come with a lot of stuff. This is everything that you see. And something to note that is very interesting is this guy was around the same price as Hypnos, which honestly, if you think about it, doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'll get to it more when I take a look at Hypnos tomorrow. But yeah, so if you are trying to get a last minute Christmas present, or at this point it's probably too late, let's do New Year's present for someone, I would definitely go for the Hypnos and not this guy, because you're getting way more for value out of that guy than this. Of course, if you are a completionist and you love the God Warriors, you love the Asgard arc, be my guest. I've heard a lot of good things about this guy. He's not a bad figure, but it's just like if you want something more for your value, definitely get the Hypnos. So with that being said, I'm going to crack this open, and then we're going to assemble the object mode first, and I will be right back. And we are back with the Delta Megrez God Robe all assembled. Now just taking a quick look here, we can see it's actually very, very cool. Now this overall design is based on just a bunch of crystals kind of growing out of skulls, as you can see here. And then just the, I guess, the God Robe manifesting from these crystals, which I really do like the design. You can see it's fairly asymmetrical. We got all these jagged crystals coming out of this from the skulls here. On the back, we got the clear amethyst crystals, and almost like I said, just the armor kind of growing out from within these crystals here. And honestly, if you know anything about this character, you'll know that this armor suits him very well, because if you look at it, lots of skulls, lots of death, and Alberich here, which we'll just put him back here and we'll take a look at him in a second, is he is an extremely dangerous character in the show because he has no honor. Now, just let that sink in for a second, if you know what I mean. Like, he will fight dirty, he will do whatever it takes to beat his opponents. And most of the other God Warriors, even though some of them are cruel, some of them are pretty bad, they still have their honor. They will still choose to fight fairly and stuff, but not him. He will do whatever it takes, trickery, just lies, anything to beat his opponents, and that's what really makes him deadly. And I feel like a part of that is because he is tiny. This guy is probably the smallest out of all the God Warriors. He is very short in stature. You probably can't really tell from this figure, but I will do some comparisons later on when he's all armored up, but he is significantly shorter than some of the other God Warriors, and I think maybe he just needs to make up for that lack of physical stature to just lie and cheat in order to win against his opponents. But so yeah, that's the God Robe, the Megrez God Robe. You can see very, very nice. It's got almost like a rocky stand with these skulls, which are kind of painted frosty color. It's really cool. And then these crystals and the armor just kind of growing out from these skulls. So very, very nice. So I'm just gonna drop that here. Let's take a look at this figure, as I was saying. Now, his body is actually more similar towards a Bronze Saint's body. If you can see, the torso here is actually wider rather than some of the other God Warriors, which actually have a very slim torso because they have waist armor. Now, if you see how much armor is on there, there's not a lot of armor that goes on this guy, which, again, just makes it seem unreasonable why he would be so expensive. So, but I mean, looking at him, it's very nice. Just a white body all the way around. He is fairly stiff, fairly solid. Nothing's really flopping around. But again, we'll take a look when he's all armored up and see if that is still the case. But face here is very nice. Got that green eye. He does have some long, shaggy, pinkish red hair. So we'll just take off the front hair piece so we can actually take a look at his face in its entirety. So yeah, that's pretty much Alberich for you. So without further ado, what I'm going to do now is, pretty sure you guys know by now, I'm going to take all the armor off of the God Robe, and I'm just going to armor Alberich right up. And when we're back, he'll be all armored up. So give me 1 second, I'll be right back. And here we have Alberich all armored up in the Delta Megrez God Robe. So first things first is taking a quick look. I love the blue on him. The blue and the white really just, there's a nice contrast to that. And with a little bit of that pinkish red too in the hair. Let's see. So as I was mentioning before, he actually does not have a lot of armor. I mean, look at his biceps. They're bare. His upper thighs are pretty bare as well. He's got a little bit of armor here, but overall pretty bare. His waist is actually bare. It's just this big chest piece that's come down and it kind of hides that a little bit, but other than that, it's pretty damn bare. We have the Odin Sapphire here in the middle, which is almost the exact same color as the rest of the armor. And coming down to his legs here, the hands, very, very simple design, yet very effective. Sometimes less is better. So, and even with all the armor on him, and again, it isn't a lot, he's pretty solid. He's not really doing any splits or falling forward or back or anything like that. So that's really, really good. Now, I know on these figures I don't actually do a lot of articulation, and for the most part it's just actually me forgetting, but it's pretty much the articulation that you would expect from any kind of typical Bandai figure. In his head there is a swivel into the head as well as into the neck, and there's a hinge in the middle of that, so you can kind of just do all these motions. Base of the neck is on a ball joint. He does have a ball joint into the shoulder, you can probably see that, which does allow for quite a bit of butterfly motion there. He has a hinge that goes out to around 90. He has a bicep rotation here, which normally just gets the butterfly joint, so bicep rotation there. He has a double jointed elbow, which most of these guys with the armor on, it doesn't really allow for that much motion, so that's probably all you're gonna get. And he has a ball hinge at the wrist. Now for the torso here, he has a ab crunch, which doesn't really go a whole lot forward, but it can go a little bit more backwards. And I feel like those that have a slimmer waist actually have more motion there. He has a ball joint at the waist. The side skirts fold out. His legs can kick forward that far, but they can't kick back too far because for him, the back skirt is actually a solid piece. It doesn't actually allow for excess motion, which kind of sucks. He can do the splits out to the side. He has a thigh rotation there, and everything's falling apart. He has a double jointed knee that goes that far, and he has a swivel at the ankle as well as a tilt, a up and down hinge, as well as a toe pivot that goes to just about that. So pretty standard articulation. Again, it's nothing really compared to an SH Figuarts, but again, you're not going to be doing the same things you will be doing to an SH Figuarts as you will be doing to this. So this is something that's meant to be just be completed, put together, and then just left on a shelf because you don't really want to be fiddling with these guys for too much. First of all, due to the price, and second of all, due to just everything is kind of just pieced on there and it's fairly fragile. So yeah, that is that. Now let's take a look at some of the accessories that Alberich here comes with. So starting off, let's take a look at the hair and the helmet. So he comes with an extra hairpiece that is made to just go with his helmet. As you can see here, we got the holes and all that. And this is his helmet, or more like a helm. You can see, I don't really know what this is kind of based off. It almost looks like some kind of bug or lizard or something. It's got these red eyes and these fangs and these horns here. Very, very nice looking. And what I like to usually do is like to put the hairpiece on the helmet first. I believe we actually need to, I don't know how to do this exactly because I haven't tried it yet, but we kind of need to get these little tufts of hair through this kind of this mouthpiece here. So okay, so it took a little bit of forcing and some plastic flexing and me holding my breath, but that's basically how you want it to look. So you got the hair kind of sticking out from underneath the helm, and very easy, we're just going to pop this front hairpiece off. And see, we got these two holes here, so we won't be needing this guy anymore. And we're just going to take this piece with these two holes, and we're just going to plug it into the head. And here we have Alberich with the helm on, and I think it looks very, very nice. I'm definitely going to keep him with the helm on. So yeah, and I'm just coming from the back here. We can see how the hair just presses very nicely against that helm. Now, as we're on the face and the helm, let's take a look at some of the other faces that this guy comes with. So he's got that stern face on him right now with the green eyes. I love this guy's eyes. They're so green and piercing. He has a closed eye face. Now, keep in mind, with the two hairstyles that he has, you're only ever going to see one eye, but I'm really glad that they actually did have both eyes painted. Here is a smirking face. A gritting his teeth, kind of frustrated face, as well as a angry, screaming face. Now, to switch the faces, it's very easy, as we saw earlier, so we're just going to pop this helm as well as hairpiece off, just like that, and pop this face off, just with these two pegs, very easy to take on and off. Let's make him happy here. He's smirking. So we're going to take these two pegs, plug it into the bottom set of holes here, and then we're just going to take our helm, plug it back on, And here we have Alberich with a different face. And again, like I said, you can barely see that other eye. If you look right under, you can see it, but for the most part, you won't be seeing that eye. But I really appreciate that they still painted both eyes on. So that is that. So the faces are good, hair is good. What else do we have? We have a bunch of hands. Now, this guy's hand joints are actually very, very tight, so I won't be doing these on camera. So you'll basically just see the pictures at the end of the video. But for hands, we have kind of open palm hands. We have kind of clawed hands for his attack, amethyst shield. And we have two kind of open grip hands, which are actually used for his sword, which we'll take a look at in a second here. And he has a left pointer finger hand for his ultimate attack, which is Nature Unity. And like I said, to exchange, all you do is just grab the wrist and you just pull the hand off. It's a little ball peg, and we just kind of plug that on and switch out the hand armor, and that's pretty much it. So, and honestly, even for future Mythcloth EX figures, I probably just won't show how the hand kind of take the hands on and off, because I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory. So, and you guys, if you really want to see it, you can look at some of my earlier videos and they will show how to exchange the hands. Now, the last piece of accessory that this guy comes with is his amethyst sword. Now, this is a clear piece of plastic. It's pretty solid. It doesn't really flex. It is sharp, so you want to be careful you don't poke yourself. Oh, something else to mention is when you're putting this guy's when you're armoring him up, or even assembling the cloth, or not the cloth, the God Robe object mode, you do want to be careful, because first of all, it's fragile, and second of all, you don't want to poke yourself, because if you look at him, there's quite some sharp edges on this guy, so be sure not to poke yourself. I did a few times. Luckily, I didn't draw any blood, but you just want to be careful. And like I said, this thing is very pointy on both ends, and here as well. It's very nicely sculpted. It's basically, if you think about it, just a shard of amethyst from his God Robe object mode. And for this, it actually comes with a flame effect, which is really, really cool. This is cast in a transparent, translucent, reddish-orange plastic with a little bit more yellow here and more red at the top. Either there's like a gradient going on through there, or this part is just thinner than what we have up here, but I feel like this looks very, very cool. And to put this on, you literally just slide the sword through. There's probably a specific way this goes, but I haven't really messed with it yet. So we'll just see here, kind of just like that, I guess. Here we have the amethyst sword all flamed up and ready to cut down his foes. And to put this in a hand, so either the right or the left holding hand will work, and all you're gonna do is just take this handle and just slide it through his hand, and find the best position here, and that's pretty much it. And he holds it fairly securely. It's not going to fall out or anything like that, so that's nice. And you just pop the hand out, put this hand on, and there you go. So yeah, that is that. Now, yeah, that's actually all the accessories that this guy comes with, because, of course, he is not a P-Bandai figure. He doesn't actually come with a lot of extra stuff, which makes it even more unreasonable why he would be so expensive. He is, when I purchased him, he was 17,000 yen, which, including the taxes and the import fees, as well as the shipping fees, amounted to almost around 20,000 yen, which is well over $200 Canadian. So yeah, I don't really know why he's this expensive, especially since all the other God Warriors were not this expensive. But speaking of God Warriors, let's get on with some comparisons here. So here we have him next to Siegfried. This is Alpha Siegfried, the strongest God Warrior, and Siegfried is on a stand, so it does boost him up a little bit, but I mean, the stand adds about, I would say, 3 millimeters, and even with that, you can see Siegfried is quite a bit taller than this guy. Now, the reason Siegfried's on a stand is because he's a mess of a figure. Without the stand, he would not be standing at all. Here we have him with Zeta Mizar Sid, which is on a God stand, as well as Beta Merak Hagen. So here we see we have 4 out of the 8 God Warriors. And finally, here is him next to a Saint. Here is Pegasus Seiya, Final Bronze Cloth. And we can see here that these guys are pretty similar in height, even though, oh, he's actually a bit taller. Actually seems like he's a bit taller than a Bronze Saint. So I guess because he technically is an adult, whereas the Saints are just teenagers. So he's a little bit taller than him, but he's still significantly shorter than, say, Hagen here, or Siegfried back there, or even Sid here. So yeah, let's get these guys out of the way. And let's just have some final thoughts on this figure. So this is a very nice figure. He's a very solid figure. I'm very happy with how this figure turned out. However, the biggest gripe I have with this guy is the fact that he is a little bit overpriced. I don't know if that's just with everything going on right now with the pandemic, that he is expensive. But I mean, if you saw the other God Warriors, they have a lot more armor on them, and the design is much more complex compared to this guy, which is very bare, and he actually doesn't have a lot of armor on him. I just don't know why he's actually worth so much money. But the good thing is, pretty much all of the armor on his body, with the exception of this helm and the hand covers, are all metal. Because, first of all, there's not a lot of armor on him, so there isn't really a reason to have anything made of plastic. So I really do like that about him. And like I said, he's a very solid figure. Even with the armor on, he's very solid. He's not slipping, he's not falling, he's not doing the splits. For this guy, if you can find him for cheaper, I would definitely say pick him up. If you can find him in that 15,000 yen range, I would say definitely go for it. But for something that's pushing more of a 20,000 yen range, I would say maybe just hold and wait, because as you saw in the beginning of this video, he costed the same amount as the God of Sleep Hypno did, which is a massive box, comes with a lot more stuff, and the design and just detailing is so much more intricate than this guy, and they're around the same price. So why not get something that personally I feel like has more value than this guy? Of course, don't get me wrong, he's a great figure. If you are a Asgard Arc fan, or if you're just a completionist, or if you're just a Delta Megrez Alberich fan, I would say definitely go for this guy. But if you have to choose, go for Hypnos. Don't go for this guy. So that's my review of the Saint Seiya Saint Cloth Myth EX Delta Megrez Alberich from the Asgard Arc. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye. 命の